I think it is important to note here, Josh, exactly what the Department of Justice is requesting. They are not asking Apple to redesign its product or to create a new backdoor to one of their products. They're simply asking for something that would have an impact on this one device.
White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest attempting to clarify what the FBI is requesting from Apple as the debate over that company's refusal to assist law enforcement heats up. Alongside Miranda Khan, J.D. Hayworth back with you now on Newsmax Prime.
Yeah, J.D., Apple is contesting a judge's order to unlock the phone belonging to one of the San Bernardino shooters, saying it doesn't have the technology to do so. However, reports indicate the company has worked with the agency on 70 different occasions, but now it's refusing, which is heightening the tension between tech companies and law enforcement on the issue of national security and privacy.
Well, let's discuss it. And joining us from Newsmax Washington with his insight and opinion, the former Director of Central Intelligence, Ambassador R. James Woolsey. He's now chairman of the Leadership Council for the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies and also chancellor at the Institute of World Politics. Jim, as always, we appreciate your time here on Newsmax Prime. And let's just cut to the chase. Who is right in this case? The FBI or Apple?
This is a legitimate conflict between two important values, the value of privacy and the value of national security. And nobody is going to be able to relieve our friends in government of the responsibility of crafting a choice that tries to do as much as it can to preserve both, because both are important. I think that's the first point. This is not one where we can go one way or the other, I think, solely.
So why do you think Apple is refusing to help now? As we mentioned, it's helped the agency more than 70 different times.
Well, it's partly, I think, because Apple seems to be thinking now, or saying anyway, that the government wants a separate back door in all of the cell phones that it sells and provides. And Apple, understandably, is resistant to that, but it's a little hard to tell from the exchange between the government and Apple whether the government is really asking for that or whether they'd be satisfied with less. I think they have to be satisfied with less. There has to be some way that when there is a truly important need to get inside a cell phone and you have the owner's permission, as is the case here with San Bernardino, because that cell phone was owned by the county government, where you have the owner's permission, then maybe you need some special kind of court order we could come up with from the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court or something. You need some special treatment so that Apple and the other companies don't worry that their back door is going to end up in all of their cell phones and used all over the world by terrorists and all kinds of people all the time. We don't want to let that happen. But I think there has to be some special procedure to deal with situations, very difficult and important ones like the one that we have now.
Fair enough. Let's obviously this is a story we will continue to follow, but there are other concerns that we want to address with you, Jim. First of all, a desperate search in Iraq going on right now for missing radioactive material. Iraqi officials worried it may have fallen into the wrong hands, specifically the hands of ISIS. Is it conceivable that ISIS or some other terror force has its hands now on materials for a dirty bomb?
I wish it were not conceivable, but I'm afraid it's very conceivable. A dirty bomb is indeed probably the most troubling use of such material, because if you detonate a bomb around it, and it could be a small one, that area that is affected by the explosion and by the residual nuclear material will not be someplace people want to be for quite a while or work. Suppose it's, let's say, at Wall Street. And they do a study and come up and say, well, you're only going to increase your chances of dying of cancer by 65% if you continue to come to work here on Wall Street, so come ahead. Not many people are going to come ahead. A lot of computers are going to get moved out to New Jersey or somewhere. This could potentially be extremely disruptive, even if very few people are killed or even affected physically very substantially by a dirty bomb.
Ambassador, I have to ask you, Iran and North Korea continue to develop missiles. I want to get your opinion. How vulnerable do you think America is to an attack?
A lot more than I would like to see, because Iran and North Korea are best buds, and they help one another out. They attend one another's launches. They work with one another on missile design. Some of their missiles one looks very much like that of the other. There's a very serious problem in that North Korea already has nuclear weapons, several of them, and has tested, I think, 4 times. And it also has orbited satellites several times. Iran has not tested a nuclear device as far as we know, but a lot of us think they are very, very close to having a nuclear device, might already have one, and in any case, the process was speeded up for them by the, I think, very poor agreement that was signed last summer by the Obama administration.
Sorry, but I just have to get to one last thing, Jim, before we let you go. We understand now an ex-Gitmo detainee is now the prominent voice of al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. The president let him go. What does this tell us? 15 seconds.
We are treating terrorists like trout, catch and release. It's a ridiculous approach.
At catch and release, we ought to save it for the fish. Our James Woolsey, former director of Central Intelligence. Jim, as always, we thank you for your thoughts. Up next, Ken Blackwell and Michael Patrick Flanagan as Newsmax Prime continues.